This last card needs to be a way to remove a body as big as Death Exmon. Will this Death Exmon win Bryce the game?
Is it a Chaos Degrade?
Goblin
is it a Chaos Degrade?
Goes to 2. We swing Death
We swing. Come on, what is it?
It is a Exmon, and Bryce wins the game with Goblimon.
Well, okay. That just happened. Welcome, everyone, to my National Championship winning Anubis deck profile. I seriously still can't believe it happened. This is insane. This is the trophy. This is the trophy card. I have the signed card from the musician. And they also gave me a copy of the second place card on top of all of the different loot that they gave me. Whew. This is crazy. Anyway, before we get into the deck profile, I want to give a huge shout out to a million people. The biggest shout out to so many homies. First off, Digitamer Joel, my homie Joel. We've been friends for a long time. He helped me grind a lot of the matchups. We hang out, podcast, talk about meta and tier lists whenever we feel like it. And when we're not doing Digimon stuff, at least once a week we're getting salty at League of Legends. Huge shout out to that homie. Shout outs to my homie Ernesto, aka Key, for being just an absolute force of positive energy. Every single round after every round he'd come up and say, "This is your favorite deck, you're gonna kill it. This is you, you're him." Just amazing energy. Great homie, super awesome guy. Helped me with the Leomon matchup, which I didn't really know until he exposed me to it. Super awesome. Shout out to my friend iPods, aka his name's Thomas. He goes by iPods in our channel. I thought my deck list was absolutely perfect. I had answers to everything I thought was going to be a problem. And then he showed me he played the mirror, and I didn't play the mirror I feel like enough at that point. And he absolutely cooked me. I learned so much in the 8 games that we played. I'm not prepared for the mirror. This was on Thursday, right before deck submission was due. I played him, was absolutely cooked. I changed 7 cards after resubmission, and went on to win every single mirror I played, because I was enlightened that I was trying to play low to the ground as consistent as possible, and I realized I absolutely need all these heavy hitters for the mirror, or you can't win. Just huge shoutouts to him. Shoutouts to everybody from our locals. Our locals is crazy. Our locals is just a super good energy of dudes and homies. And if you don't think our locals is stacked, well, I'm here now, and our homie got 4th last year, and we're crazy there. But also, we're just good vibes, good homies. We hang out outside of just playing the game. Everyone there is so sick. Shout out to everybody just telling me that I was doing it. I was the guy going forward. Even after I beat them, nobody was acting super salty. Everyone was like, "Dude, I think you got this. You're the one that's gonna do it." Super huge shout out to the guy I played first round in top 64. I could have not made any farther. He made a super homie move. He could have easily beaten me because of time rules, because of a misplay I made. He literally could have just played a slow turn and won the game. And he's like, "I will do this. I can't do anything, so I'll pass," and I got the game there. It wasn't like he could have won the game, but he could have won because of the time rules. And he just wanted to win fair and square, and honestly, huge props to him, dude. Not everyone's that big of a homie. Not everyone's that big of a, honorable person. A lot of people will just take that scummy win, dude. Huge shout outs. So, shout outs to everybody. Anybody I missed. My family who tuned in, even though I know nothing about Digimon. Just everybody. This is crazy. Anyway, let's get right into this list. Alright, so before we get into the list, I want to show off this really sick top 8 mat, I believe. I think it was top 8. Super sick, but under it, I want to show you the even sicker champion mat. Let's do this deck profile. So to start, we play 4 of the Sunamon. This is the egg that allows you to draw a card whenever you discard a card. Generally, in the history of purple, his best egg has been Demi-Meramon, but whenever purple has been at its most broken, this has been the egg that's been played. It allows you to just draw cards when you discard, and you can trigger it multiple times, unlike Demi-Meramon, which can only be triggered once. Excellent card, helps you increase the consistency of the deck. Before we get into Digimon, we gotta go. I am about consistency. I want to make my deck as consistent as possible. I ended up on 4 Wisdom and 4 Purple Memory Boosts. At one point, I was on 3 Memory Boosts. I upped it to 4 because of my last-minute changes. I added a bit more expensive cards, and I had to take out some level 5s and some level 4s. So I wanted to make up for that by adding as much consistency as possible, along with 12 rookies, being the 4 Ignite-Mon. This is the best egg in the deck. It has the inheritable where you gain memory when you play by an effect. You could use this effect to delete another Digimon, to delete a Digimon, unsuspended Digimon on the same level. That came up. It also is the Digi-Cross target. Mainly you go for Mervu, because when you go for Merva, you're allowed to trigger the inheritable. The next best rookies are the 2 Goblimon and 2 Labramon. Labramon could have probably been Labramon in a lot of situations, but I had Labramon just in case I went against exactly Security Control, which was the finals. Because with this card, you're allowed to recur your resources, establish some infinite loops where you can go Merva until they run out of resources. My opponent played really well around that by just hitting his degrades and Lonkies and just putting Merva into security and never touching my security. So that didn't come up, although it did come up in other ways where I was able to re-grab Anubis. Against Mirage, it came up because I could just use the discard effect just to get my hand size a little bit lower. And it's not that much worse than Gobbly in the other situations. Gobbly's just the best when you need to secure climbing up your stack in a turn. But they're both really good cards, and they both achieve similar purposes. Labra was just better for certain grind games, which in the finals I had to play. So really awesome. Then I play Floodgates. I believe this deck should be playing Floodgates because this is, at its core, a purple toolbox deck, so you need to have as many tools in your arsenal as possible to deal with the situations in front of you. I went with 3 Psychmon and 1 Gazimon. Psychmon is so good. A lot of people were telling me, oh, most Anubis lists are playing 1, maybe 2 Psychmon, and I thought that was just fake. This is one of the best cards in the mirror. It shuts off any cross deck. It shuts off you being cooked by Death Xmon, which could possibly be in any deck you play. Any deck can choose to play Death X, and it's just great in the mirror. There are so many times where my opponents would forget about this card. Its card is crazy, and so I wanted to see it more. Gazimon was also good, but I wanted to see it less than Psychmon, which is why we play more Psychmon. It was still nice when I hit this. Sometimes I just find the 1-of. You're playing a deck that has a ton of search, a ton of draw, so you can see your 1-ofs a lot, which is why I play so many 1-ofs in the deck overall. We played all of these cards. This is 20 consistency starting cards. When you start a game, you want to see your consistency cards. So being able to see 20 consistency cards to start the game is ideal. And ideally, you want to see maybe 2 of them, or at least 1 of the rookies plus level 4s. And so you need to play. I think about the options almost as the same as my rookies. There's more ways to have consistency in the game. Then we get to level 4s. This is not all level 4s. I have some saved for the end. So we're going to have the 4 Ogremon, 3 Dobermon X, 2 Saberdramon. I feel like these are standard in most decks. Some builds will play 3 of this, 4 of this. Some builds will 3 and 3. But I wanted this one. It's the best one to go into in raising. It can give you the most value, and it has the most. It ensures your Anubis plays the most often. Dobermon is a close second and also is a blocker when you bring out Merva. There are also plays where sometimes you have to evolve over a card to get value from your Sunamon because you still need pieces. Great card. So the flexibility of this card, having the on-play and the when Digivolve effect is really nice. And then Saberdramon is just a problem remover. It's one of the reasons the deck is so strong. You don't need to see a lot of it. You just need to see some amount of it, but you do want to see it. It helps you deal with big boss monsters like Death X, big things like Mirage Galgamon, any boss monster that's attacks unsuspends and just kind of stays as a blocker or anything like that. Even in the finals, it came up against Psychmon because it was the only thing on his field. Sometimes people would suspend an attack with everything and try to drop a Psychmon to stop me, and the Psychmon would be the only thing unsuspended, and so it could raid into it and delete it. Just the toolbox removal option is super nice. So those are the level 4s for now. There's some at the very end, and I'll get to that and explain that when we get there. Level 5s, we play 4 Blue Marimon. It's the best one. It is just like the old Lady Devi, except for it has the inheritable that allows us to gain memory when we play cards by an effect. And it has retaliation. Retaliation doesn't come up that much. It comes up certain niche situations based on some of my my tech choices. But other than that, the retaliation is just okay. It also is sometimes nice because if you have to bring out like an Ogremon instead of like a Dobermon when you're going for the Merva play, you can give your stack retaliation by going into the Blue Marimon, and then it will gain Rush. But mostly, we play this one at the most copies because when you play a card by an effect, gain memory is super, super clutch. On top of level 5s, we play 1 Lady Devimon and 2 Makerakmon Vicious mode. Some people were super on Pummel Whack. They thought that card was crazy. I hated that card. Every time I tested it, it felt awful. It felt like, why am I trying to pay 3 memory to pass the turn when I could rather just get to my stack and go to my Anubis and delete your Floodgate. Like, the reason you play a card is to get rid of Floodgates. It had the bonus of when you discard it, you draw some extra cards, which can be nice, but I'm trying to get rid of your Floodgates. I want to play the game. Lady Devi is the 5th Blue Mara. I used to play 2, but I had to cut it for some Mem Boost and some of the boss monsters. At one point, there was a super clutch game in Swiss where the inheritable of Lady Devi came up and won me the game. So don't sleep on that. Definitely always be thinking about that, but it's the one I wanted less of because you need answers for Floodgates because this deck can sometimes be Floodgated out. Finally, our boss monsters. This is our Big Daddy Anubis. This is the best card in the deck. It's the reason we play this deck. This card is the card about to get limited because it is super, super strong. People ask me, do you like this deck? Are you just playing it because it's top tier? I am playing it because it's top tier, but I love this kind of deck. My favorite types of strategies are Purple Toolbox. This is the ultimate Purple Toolbox. It can play really cool grind games. I have a lot of different resources to use, but I can also just nut draw you and go absolutely crazy, make a giant board that you have to deal with. This card does too much. I understand that it needs to get limited. I agree that it needs to get limited, but I'm going to play the best card where I can, and I love this deck. My favorite deck in this game of all time is Purple Lilith Loop back when MDF was legal. This is the closest thing. It's just more of an aggressive version of that deck, more aggressive, mid-rangey version, but you can still go almost infinite value, so it doesn't even matter that it's like an aggressive deck as well. And then the 4 Merva. Some people cut the 3. I wanted to see it as consistently as humanly possible. It's the combo card. Anubis, if you don't know the combo, Anubis can discard 3. Target Merva, it reduces the cost by 6. Merva digicrosses, so it reduces the cost by an additional 3, so that she costs 2. And then you trigger all of your inheritables that gain you memory when you play Digimon by effect. So you evo for 4 into Anubis. You play this for 2, so 6 total, and then you can gain like possibly up to 4 back. But the really broken part is that Anubis, on top of that, has it a when Digivolving and main effect. So if they don't answer the Anubis, I can just do it again for free next turn instead of paying the Digivolve cost of Anubis. Crazy, crazy combo. It's the reason the deck is so busted. I would not cut any of these cards. They are too clutch. The only consideration is maybe cut a Merva for another card later in the list, but I felt I just needed to see the combo, and then everything else is just tools I will see along the way. Finally, we have what I consider super clutch. These are tech cards. The deck is a toolbox. I need to have as many different tools as possible. And so here are the various different tools that we are allowed to grab. This is 2 more level 4s in Black Gatomon Uber and Soulmon. Black Gatomon Uber was absolutely crazy. I had this crazy epiphany on Wednesday night. I had this crazy idea. I'm like, wait, how do I beat Leviamon if they have a Biting Crush setup? I lost that matchup testing it in Stroll. I realized you can go for your combo and target their Levy, and then they don't have a target to activate the Biting Crush. So it counters that, and then the more I thought about it, like, this card's way crazier than I thought. I could slow down Red Hybrid, I can tuck Magnet Angemons for security control. People, they said in the finals match that they didn't think I thought of that. I fucking thought of that. This card is crazy. Soulmon, I was playing at 2, but I cut the second copy for a Black Gatomon Uber. And that was because Soulmon was for the Red Hybrid matchup mostly. It's also good versus opponent rune modes. But I just wanted to see a more wide variety of tools, so I ended up going with just the one of Soulmon instead. I don't know if that would have punished me, but luckily I played against 0 Red Hybrid, which is super clutch, and probably one of the harder matchups that I got to avoid. I still got to play some of the other hard matchups, but avoiding that matchup was super nice. Then we have the one of Spotamon. It is a rookie, but you can't use it as a rookie, so I consider it like an option. This card was so crazy. If you didn't play this deck with this card, you were playing wrong. I wasn't playing it for a bit. This card answered so many cards. It allows the deck to deal with level 6s. It allowed the deck to play around on deletion effects. It was really good against Leomon, where I got to de-digivolve his Heavy Leo. One time I deleted a Heavy Leo. He tucked X antibody on it. I went for this to de-digivolve it, and he's like, can you do that? And the judge was like, absolutely yes. This card was crazy. You lose one body off the Merva play, but what you get in exchange is the best amount of removal in the game. De-digivolve plus delete a level 5. Card went absolutely nuts. The Surge effect even came up a little bit because I was able to sometimes add additional copies of Ignitemon or Mervamon. This card was wild. So powerful in this deck. I wasn't playing it until I played the mirror that Friday night. And I'm so glad I put it in on top of the other couple tech cards I was playing. I was playing the Leviamon in my build originally. This card is so nuts. I saw it so often too. You see how so many games I had it. Game 1, I would just slam this card down. This card is wild. The ability to delete up to 2 guys on Digivolving or on play, and then all turns when their Digimon's deleted, you gain memory. So it just puts so much pressure on the opponent to deal with it. It's a great backup level 6 to Anubismon. Sometimes you'd have to hard evolve into Mervamon. It's a great backup to that as well. Also with Anubis, there's a combo with Anubis in this card. You can use Anubis effect to play this for a reduced cost of 7. So in that case, it's almost like playing just a Rivals. So why would I play a card like Rivals when I have a removal option in Levy? I almost cut a Merva to play a second one of this, but I decided I want as much consistency in the combo as possible. It could go either way, but I'm glad with the list I went with, so it's fantastic. Now, my final 2 cards. These cards used to be Rivals Barrages to deal with certain threats and stuff, and then I realized I need Digimon. This deck wants to cycle its Digimon, play reduced cost Digimon, and that's the 2 boss monsters. That's the level 7s, baby. Death X is already a crazy card, but I was convinced that the deck was already so good at deleting small bodies that I didn't need it, and I was absolutely wrong. This card was insane today. It soloed security control because they wanted to deal with the Anubis and the Merva and the other cards, so they just couldn't deal with this card as it just kept beating them down, checking their board constantly. This card went crazy. There was a match that I'll explain in the future where it came up super clutch. Incredible. It's less good in the mirror because they can play Psychmons, but it's still good in the mirror. Amazing card. And then Shine Greymon Room Mode, last card of the deck. This card's insane. I understand why you wouldn't play it because it can be bricky. You can't play it for reduced cost like Death X. You have to Evo over it. But I realized when I played the mirror, my friend Evo'd over it, and I'm like, oh, I can no longer Floodgate you next turn. So now you're free to go off and pop off next turn. This is the mirror breaker. You need this card to win the mirror, or you're not going to win the mirror. That and Spotamon on as well. Crazy cards, insane. That's the list. And that is it. That's the tournament run. That's the deck profile. That was all my matchups. And I won. I am the current national champion for Digimon. It's still so crazy to me. I made shoutouts earlier, but I honestly, like, there's so many people I could thank, and it's just, thank you everybody. I'm so overwhelmed, and this is so awesome. The Japan trip, I didn't even know about it until top 4, and going to Japan has always been one of my dreams. This is truly an incredible experience, and I'm so just grateful that I had this opportunity, and that I actually played so well with a deck I truly enjoyed, even though most people, it's the best deck, they hate it. It's a card game. Everybody hates the best deck at some point. I hated Metal Gurumon X. That card made me upset, and sometimes you just want something to complain at, and that's part of the fun, honestly. But for me personally, Purple Toolbox, Purple Combo, Anubismon was straight up my alley, and I had a great time at this event. I loved most of my matches. Most of the people I played were super helpful and super fun and super awesome. Nobody was really salty, or at least openly salty. Everyone was super supportive, and it was just a fantastic time. Isn't that right, dog? Hello, dog.